I ain't trying to be on camera though.
You won't, sir. That's cool.
Hello.
He says,
She's that way.
Grace and peace. Good morning, those of you that are joining us online, those here in the room. I'm Bishop Sinegal. And though I'm a pastor of a Houston, Texas church, the bishop of a national fellowship of churches, today I'm here solely as the executive director of Safehouse Unmuzzled advocacy group. We are the nation's only advocacy group for victims of gross clergy abuse and predatory clergy sexual misconduct, specifically within the African American charismatic church context. Recently, the story of John Lowe, pastor of New Life Christian Church in Warsaw, Indiana, went viral when it was revealed that he had used his pastoral power to sexually assault an adolescent in his church. While the nation stands in shock of that story, there is an egregious gross clergy abuse and predatory clergy sexual abuse taking place here in Hannibal, Missouri. Earlier in 2022, our agency was enlisted to support victims in calling for an investigation into 63-year-old Dwight Reed, who is the bishop of Christ Apostolic Temple Fellowship headquartered in Des Moines, Iowa, after he married an adolescent, a teenager in his church, an adolescent that had, upon information and belief, been a lifelong member of that church, a student in the school that his church had published him to be the dean of, and a recipient of counseling services. In our opinion, it is and was a clear breach of fiduciary responsibility, ethical boundaries, and gross misuse of clergy power. During the course of our investigation, former members of Christ Apostolic Temple number 3, the Light of Hannibal, began coming forward with allegations of child sexual abuse that was perpetrated by the youth pastor director, Robin Michelle Hardin. At least 3 different young men were alleged to have been sexually abused as minors while actively involved in this so-called youth ministry of Christ Apostolic Temple number 3. One of those young men committed suicide after the abuse. One of those young men asked to not be involved in the investigation. And one of those young men courageously came forward and provided his testimony to us. It is that young man's belief that his sexual abuse also resulted in the birth of a child. Numerous witnesses came forward supporting this young man's testimony, and evidence was provided to us that some of the youth in this church bravely confronted the pastor, Robin Andrews, and the bishop, Dwight Reed, to ask what would be done about the sexual abuse. We have substantiated the testimony of these witnesses that Robin Andrews did minimize and dismiss their cries for help, justice, and failed to involve law enforcement. No legal action was taken against Robin Michelle Hardin. No child welfare agencies were contacted. And it is the testimony of victims and witnesses that no action was taken because the youth pastor, director, Robin Michelle Hardin, is the senior pastor, Robin Andrews' own daughter. So often survivors have had their experiences denied, trivialized, and distorted. Whenever the leadership of a church or the church as a whole chooses to cast aspersion on victims, the church as an institution becomes an accomplice in the abuse. This elevates this from solely being individual abuse to now additionally being institutional and structural abuse. Some choose to protect the public image of a local church as opposed to protecting the human beings that make up the local church. This is not the heart of Christ, nor is it his intention for what the culture of the Christian church should be. In the state of in the state of Missouri, clergy members are mandated reporters. Section 210.135 of this state's criminal code criminalizes any failure by clergy to report sexual abuse to law enforcement. As our investigation continued, a survival of sexual abuse involving incest also came forward. This was also suppressed within that church. After determining to no longer be a prisoner to this experience, she reported to us that she had gone to the pastor for help and that help was denied also. Making victims feel guilty, ungodly, or unchristlike in response to their desires for their abusers to be held accountable is a gross misuse of clergy power and a perversion of the heart of Christ. Jesus Christ's ministry was dedicated to defending, advocating, and speaking up for oppressed, victimized, and marginalized people. Using the pulpit to attack and demean victims and witnesses, or using it to encourage others to separate from victims and witnesses of such abuse is a gross abuse of clergy power. It is reported that the extreme cult-like culture of this church is one in which anyone who speaks up is excommunicated, and the remaining members are conditioned by polarizing messages across the pulpit to have no fellowship with them. Safehouse Unmuzzled stands with and in support of these victims. Our support base comprised of thousands of Christians, pastors, mental health professionals, legal professionals, and people from every walk of life around the nation strongly condemn such a false church culture. Let this not serve to you as a representation of the true church of Jesus Christ. Let it be clear that according to Scripture, this is a false church. Let it be clear that according to these reports, this church is a threat to the community of Hannibal, to your families, and to your children. One must seriously pray for the heart of any person who could learn of the sexual abuse of children. And in response to that, simply say, let's pray about it. There's a time to pray, and then there's a time to act. Where gross clergy abuse is involved, especially the sexual abuse of the innocent, it's time to act. Faith without works is dead. Martin Luther King said, the ultimate tragedy is not the oppression or cruelty of bad people, but the silence over that by good people. Silence never helps victims, but it always helps abusers to continue their abuse. We will not just take this to prayer. This must be taken to criminal courts. This must be taken to City Hall. This must be taken into state and national legislative hallways. It is the position of Safehouse Unmuzzled that until clergy abuse laws are made by local, state, and federal legislation, that this repulsive and social disease that inculcates itself within some churches will continue to spread and grow worse. Lives are destroyed while so-called Christians are just praying. We must act as Jesus acted and confront this misuse of power. Today, I, along with another Safehouse advocate, escorted victims into the police department to file criminal charges against these that stand accused. A 10-page report was provided to the Hannibal Police Department. Evidence was provided to the Hannibal Police Department. And the Hannibal Police Department now has a responsibility to investigate and to act on the behalf of these that have suffered such significant harm here in the Hannibal, Missouri community. While such abuses within the African American community and the microcosm, the African American church community, are uncomfortable to discuss and to confront, I am more concerned by those that are comfortable looking the other way. One of the victims, Lonnie Randall, who did not feel comfortable being here today, asked me to read this statement on his behalf. He said, this is something I have kept to myself for many years, but with the support of Bishop Sinegal and the Unmuzzled team, I'm able to tell my story. I finally felt comfortable to say something I've been scared for years, thinking that no one would believe me because me and my siblings were always known as problem children in the church. All I want to say is I hope I get justice and that I get the answers that I've been looking for. Thank you to those who have signed the petition and shown your support. I want you to hear the testimony of that young man. And his experience was that when they came forward, no one believed them. We are in a terrible day when children who have been abused and victimized in the name of God have to choose between getting justice and or being believed. Church, community, the city of Hannibal, the body of Christ, we have a responsibility to support, to stand with, and to defend these victims. Safehouse Unmuzzled is committed to walking them through. We have a case report, and I would encourage anyone else that has experienced abuse in Christ Apostolic Temple number 3, the Light of Hannibal. I would encourage you to contact our organization at help@safehouseunmuzzled.com. We'll put you in touch with a detective. We're here to advocate for you. We can assure you that this will no longer be suppressed in the name of God. There's a time for intercession, but this is the time for confrontation. Any questions? Yes, sir.
How receptive was Hannibal Police Department when you met with them this morning?
Sure, incredibly receptive. We began speaking with Hannibal Police Department and Detective Freitlig maybe 2 weeks ago. Had scheduled an appointment to meet with them this morning. They had gone through our report in detail, had looked at the evidence in detail, and were incredibly receptive this morning. We're planning to have a meeting with the prosecutor to see how it could walk forward, because again, it's important that not only the accused abuser is held accountable, but the pastor of this church, who had a responsibility as a mandated reporter and did not report, that she is also held accountable.
Were they aware of this at all before you approached them?
The police department?
Yes.
No, they were not aware of it at all. Again, no contact had been made, no attempts to bring this to them.
You mentioned legislature and cities need to get involved. How are you working with legislative issues in city council?
Sure. So one of the things our organization, beyond just advocating individually and alongside those that have been abused, one of the things we do is create bill amendment proposals and bill proposals and attempt to find legislators that will sponsor those bills. Only 14 states in the United States of America have any kind of law on the book as it relates to clergy abuse. And the language that surrounds that is incredibly vague. Our objective is to see that language deepened and defined, and that the fiduciary responsibility of clergy members, in the same way that a counselor, any other mental health professional, a medical professional, in the same way that they will be held accountable. Teachers also, absolutely.
I don't know that I have any other specific.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Those of you that are watching online, bloggers that are watching online, you all can contact us with any additional question. Those news medias that reached out and said you would be connecting with our stream here, contact us with any additional questions. Hannibal, Missouri, Quincy, the state of Missouri, you have a responsibility to these young people that have experienced abuse in this church. And if you call yourself a Christian and look the other direction, you have missed the entirety of the heart, the nature, and the ministry of Jesus Christ. Look at what Jesus did. He used his voice and his influence to speak up for those who had no power, even against those that had the power. Thank you all for streaming in.
Hey, everybody. Please sign the petition if you have not already. Please share it as well. Thank you so much again for being here. Monica's Views and News, Hood Therapy. Akata, thank you so much. Sexy Star, my favorite star. Kelly G. Betty Yellick. And D. Jones, thank you. One of my newest members. Thank you. So let's I'm gonna put some things, excuse me. I just had Coke Zero. Hold on. Okay, so I'm putting some link. I'm gonna put in. I just put in the link for the petition. I'm trying to make sure that it's what do you call it? The link is not showing up in blue on there. So I want you to be able to okay. I think this is gonna work now. Y'all let me know if the link is showing up in blue. Okay, it is. All right. Thank you. So, all right. So, let me just roll back some things. I have also pinned a copy of the report that the Safehouse Unmuzzled gave to the authorities today. Okay. So let me do a little bit of a recap. A little bit. Okay. So, okay. So remember about, has it been 2 months? Over 2 months ago, I did a story about a pastor who's actually a bishop, a pastor of Christ Apostolic Temple in Des Moines, Iowa. He's a 63-year-old man, which we now know he's 64 years old. He married a teenage girl in his congregation. We thought she was 18-year-old at the time, but she was actually 19. Still, she's a teenager. Yes, she's technically an adult, but she was also a student at the church school where he was the dean. Now all of a sudden he's saying he's not the dean. But I have pictures that I've showed before where he was on the website, which now there's issues with the website. So they're trying to scrub it. Other members of his church, former members, even members of his own family, his niece, I believe his granddaughter, one of his daughters has even come out and spoke about it being true. And that it also being a history that this church has been a cult, which was established by his father, Bishop Jeremiah Reed, okay, who passed away in the 2010s. So I want to say 2024, not 2024, 2014, 2015, I think, or 16. But anyways, there's been multiple people coming out trying to, smear the name of the people who are speaking out. Some of them have spoken on my channel. I believe victims. Everybody can't be lying. Everybody has a similar story to what happened to them in this church. Now, what has happened, what is uncovered now with this new press release from today, Bishop Dwight Reed or Bishop, Jeremiah Reed he left I believe the holiness churches or the PAW churches that were in his community and set up his own organization called Apostolic Oneness Network, something like that. And so there is a network of churches that he is under and he is the bishop of. Okay, so Bishop Jeremiah Reed did that. He died. It went to his son, Bishop Dwight Reed. And then so Bishop Dwight Reed is over his church and also the church in Hannibal and a few other churches. He is over them too. So that's how they are both connected. This spirit, organizationally, they are under the same person. Hey, Demita 1968. Oh, I got snapshots of the website too. Yeah. And so what has come out, other people now who have also been impacted by this church have come out. And one of those people was a young lady named Kakira. Kakira, who I also have a video about on my channel. If you go to my church abuse playlist, she talks about basically she comes from the Hannibal, Missouri, Christ Apostolic Temple number 3. And she is a victim of incest. Okay. And she talked about she went to the pastor, Pastor Robin Andrews, and told her that she was being abused. She did not get the help that she needed. In that same church, more things have come out that the senior pastor did not report Kyrie's abuse, and she also did not report the abuse of these 3 young men who were the victims of her daughter, who is the youth pastor, Michelle Hardin. Do y'all get that? Okay, let me just digest that for a minute. This is Christ Apostolic Temple Church number 3. The pastor is Robin Andrews. The bishop of this church is the same one that's the pastor of the church in Des Moines, Iowa. Does everyone get that straight? Dwight Reed. All right. So right now, what is happening is there are actually, and I forget what her name is. She was actually on Safehouse. I need to probably do like a little video where I put all this stuff together, like these stories, because they're connected. I'm trying to connect them for you. Hey, Black Anonymous, I'm so happy that you are here. Thank you so much. So there was a young lady who went to the clubhouse, Safehouse Unmuzzled, and she basically explained that the young people in that church, Hannibal, Missouri church, went to Bishop Dwight Reed about their issues with the pastor of that church. He sounded like he was listening to them, was going to do something about it. What he did actually came on the side of Pastor Michelle Hardin and basically told everyone else need to follow her instructions and not listen to people who are bad-mouthing her in the church. Okay? So it's still that spirit of, I'm going to cover other people's issues. I'm not listening to these young people. They're just being abused. And some of them have left the church. Okay? So what has happened coming out, and like in the press conference that you just saw, Bishop Sinegal said he went with, I believe his name is Lonnie. I think it's Lonnie. He went with him to the police station today, and I guess some others, to file charges. He said one of the victims committed suicide, and another victim just said, "Hey, I don't want to deal with this." And they have every right to, because this is a lot. And also, you understand, these are boys. How do people feel about boys, young boys, and older women? Like, oh, that's not molestation. Well, guess what? It is. It is. And she was in a position of authority by being the youth pastor and also by being the daughter of the senior pastor of the church. Okay? Yes. And then people want to know why Black Anonymous, so many of them don't want to go to church. Either abuse or the hypocrisy. It's not just happening to girls, it's happening to boys too. Our Black boys need to be protected. Our Black daughters need to be protected. Everybody needs to be protected. Okay. So that's why I wanted you all to understand. Here's the petition. Please sign it. If you haven't already, please share it. If you got a Twitter, Instagram, email, text, Facebook, all the social media, just share it, please. Share it. And in this case, in Missouri, the state of Missouri, you can go to jail for failing to report abuse. So not only is the senior pastor going to be held accountable, the predator needs to be held accountable too. So I'm also if you look at the, let me see if I can get this. I'm going to share it on my screen. Hopefully it will be big enough for you to see it. Safehouse Unmuzzled also put it on their website. And please follow Safe Unmuzzled. They are on Facebook. They are on Instagram. They're on Twitter. They have, they already had like 2 email addresses, but I guess now they have a 3rd one. And if you still don't feel like, you want, like, hey, I'm not sure about how to contact them, just email me or text me and send me a message like, hey, I'm trying to get a hold of, what is the email address, or how can I send them a message, or I have some information. I want to know more about what is going on. Okay, how do I make this bigger? How do I download this? Hold on, y'all. I can share it, but how do I want to make it, it's a report, y'all. Y'all got time? Y'all want to read this? Because we can read this now. I'm just letting you know. We can, if you got time. I got time today. We can read this. We can get your snack and get your drink. Let me put my glasses on. Ugh, sorry. A little LED thing fell. I'm gonna put my glasses on. All right. Please hit the like button. Like I said, the report is pinned, so you can click on it yourself. But we're gonna go ahead, and if y'all want to, we can read it right now. Hey. Okay, I put it in a different window so it can you can see it on the whole screen. So let me see how I can make it bigger. All right. Okay, I made it full screen as much as I could, y'all. Let me see how it looks on my phone. Thank y'all for being here. Hold on. Emailing one of the people on my street committee, the transcript committee. Live. Okay. All right. Let them know. All right. Okay. Okay, well, let's do this, okay? I'm trying to make this bigger, y'all, but I don't know how to make it. Hold on. Let me okay, that's a zoom. Oh shoot. Y'all see the zoom? I'm zooming. Okay, well, that's good to know. I can zoom. Okay, let me take down let me take this down. Y'all know where to see it. Okay. Not Betty Yellett, can you do me a favor? And Black Anonymous, can y'all please keep sharing the petition and the link every 5 minutes if you can, because this is going to take up the whole page and I want everybody to be able to see it. So if y'all can do that for me. Hey, HM, I missed you. Hey. All right, so let's get it started. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I'm being silly. All right, so let's okay, so okay, if I make it bigger, it won't let me see the top. Okay. All right, so this is the Safehouse Unmuzzled report, it says, let me see if I can see it. Grace and peace from our God, our Father, and Lord and Savior, Lord Jesus Christ. Report classification public, subject Robin Andrews. Current church, Christ Apostolic Temple, the Light of Hannibal. Allegations: failure to report child sexual abuse. Let me put my desk light up. Oh, I need my desk light. Need some more light. Where is the thing? Okay, there you go. All right, I got it. Now I can read better, y'all. Oh, wait, the screen going up. Dang it. Let me see this, y'all. Let's see if we can do this. Hold on. Can y'all see this? Technology. Look at this. I'm putting on my phone on silent. People not okay. All right, y'all can see this now. Okay, I've been trying to make this thing big for so long. Let me make this bigger. Is that better for everybody? Can you see? Put a 1 in the chat. Okay, so let's get back. Allegations. Failure to report child sexual assault. Failure to report adult sexual abuse involving incestual abuse by a father against his biological daughter. That's the case of Kaikira, who previously was on Safehouse Unmuzzled, and I streamed the video. And failure to remove accused child sexual abuser from leadership of children in the church. He was a deacon. Okay, but plus also her daughter was not removed either, because her daughter is youth pastor. Okay. Report compiled by Bishop Demetrius J. Sinegal, investigator and author, Brianna Stoney, co-investigator, edited by Keisha Bowser, LPC, senior case manager. And Brianna and Keisha, a lot of times, I think almost all the times, have been co-hosts or co-moderators with Bishop Sinegal on the Clubhouse. Keisha, I really, really like her. She is an LPC, and she deals with specifically people who have gone through religious trauma. PTSD. So I'm glad, she edited reports and everything like that. So let's go to the next one. All right. Here we got the, ooh, maybe not that big. Okay. All right. Here we go. So table of contents, page 3, background check. But table of contents on page 2. Case summary, background check, primary allegations, additional allegations, page 3. Investigation, background and allegations, page 4. That consists of background overview, investigation summary, key limitations. Primary findings, page 5 and 6. Timeline events, page 6. Investigative narrative detail, page 6 to 8. Subject's response, page 9. Recommendations and conclusions, page 9. Okay, y'all, let's get to it. All right. Okay. Can y'all? Okay. All right. So, all right. Case summary. Subject background. This investigation relates to allegations made against Robin Andrews, also known as Pastor Robin Heron, known as Subject, and Christ Apostolic Temple number 3, the Light of Hannibal, Heron, after known as Subject's Church. Subject is the senior pastor of Christ Apostolic Temple number 3, the Light of Hannibal. Subject has remained an avid supporter of Bishop Dwight Reed amidst his contracted abuse for marriage to his teenage adolescent bride and numerous allegations of gross clergy abuse, intimidation, and harassment. According to testimony from a primary victim and 3 primary witnesses, Subject did knowingly and actively conceal allegations of sexual assaults on minor children perpetrated by the subject's biological daughter, Robin, ROBYN, Michelle Hardin, who, upon information and belief, was between the ages of 33 to 37 during the time of the alleged sexual assaults. Let me sip my drink. I'm drinking Gatorade Zero, but still, let me sip my drink. I got it. Okay. Upon information and belief, subject did also fail to report adult sexual abuse involving the ongoing incestuous rape of a female member by her biological father, a deacon in the church, when she was ages 19 through 21. On March 24, Safehouse Unmuzzled was made aware of the allegations against subject and the various instances of the gross abuse of power to suppress accusations of abuse within subject's church. Whew. Lord have mercy. All right. Primary allegations. Allegation number 1. Subject did suppress testimony and accusations lodged against her biological daughter, Robin Michelle Hardin, the youth pastor, of predatory sexual misconduct, rape, and molestation against minors. Subject did fail to report the allegations to legal authorities. According to Missouri Section 210.115 RSMO, a minister, as provided by Section 352.400 SMO, when any individual identified above has reasonable cause to suspect that a child has been or may be subjected to abuse or neglect, or observes a child being subjected to conditions or circumstances which would reasonably result in abuse or neglect, that person shall immediately report. Okay. Allegation number 2. Subject failed to report allegations of adult sexual abuse involving incest perpetuated by one of the deacons in her church against his biological daughter, allegedly resulting in 2 pregnancies. That's Kakir. All right. Allegation number 3. Subject failed to remove accused predators from church leadership positions, including positions directly involving minor children. So that involves that deacon and her daughter. All right. Allegations number 4. Subject used pastoral authority and privilege to publicly embarrass, shame, and intimidate one of the primary victims. Okay. All right. All right, y'all. Whew. This is heavy, y'all. This is heavy. All right, let's go to the next page. Whew. Okay. All right. Okay. Better? All right. Here is page number 4. All right. Investigation background allegations. Okay. Background overview. The scope of UnMuzZled's investigation includes events that date back over the course of 10 years. Oh my goodness. Details regarding the key facts in the investigation, procedures performed, and any limitations are as follows. Investigation summary. Date of investigation. March 24, 2022 through May 18, 2022. Evidentiary support. Phone interviews. 2 primary victim phone interviews and formal statements. 2 primary witness phone interviews and formal statements. Multimedia review. Audio recording, screenshots. Document review. Criminal records, and charges. Okay. All right. Let's go above. All right. Key limitations. Betty Yellick, one of your faces is actually a smiley face or a laughing emoji. Did you know that? I think maybe you did it by accident. Okay. On March 24, 2022, during the weekly Safehouse Unmuzzled Clubhouse conversation held via the Clubhouse app, a primary witness spoke publicly and on record concerning the deliberate and active cover-up of child sexual abuse by leadership within the church. This prompted an investigation by Safehouse Unmuzzled. This investigation, however, began amidst a tedious investigation and media campaign against the White Reed and Christ Apostolic Temple, the presiding bishop and parent church of this subject and subject's church. This ongoing investigation, limited resource, and volunteer presented obstacles for our investigation. Dwight Reed's deliberate measure to intimidate potential witnesses from speaking out by verbally attacking them over the pulpit and social media initially made it difficult for Safehouse Unmuzzled to obtain further witness testimony. Initially, our investigation only involved primary witnesses. However, in the case of such allegations, it is our goal to obtain the testimony of primary victims where possible. On April 6th, 2022, we were able to obtain primary victim testimony on record. One of the alleged victims of the child abuse died by suicide. Lord have mercy. So, and it is alleged that it is a result of pre-existing mental health concerns that were aggravated by the sexual abuse. Another of the alleged victims did not want to participate in the investigation due to interfamily conflict and potential confrontations. Okay, this is what I need to let y'all know. Pay attention to the part where it says interfamily conflict. There's some other things that I know, but I'm not at liberty to say yet. And I am going by the recommendation of the transcript committee to wait to say that. Okay. So, that's all I'm going to say. All right. Okay. That's all I'm going to say. Okay. Whew. Lord have mercy. All right. Primary findings, page 5. Allegation number 1. Subject did suppress testimony accusations lodged against her biological daughter, Robin Michelle Hardin, the youth pastor director of predatory sexual misconduct, rape, and molestation against minors. Subject did fail to report the allegation to legal authority. This allegation is substantiated, and they got proof. Violation, failure to report child sexual assault. Evidentiary support. Evidentiary support number 1. Includes corroborating statements by a primary victim and 2 witnesses. The 2 witnesses were able to provide supporting testimony as the primary victim's statement, as they each made personal attempts to get subject to hold her daughter accountable to no avail. Okay. Evidentiary support number 2 include audio recordings from August 24, 2019, in which a primary witness met with subject and subject's bishop to address the primary witness's concerns and grievances. During that meeting, the primary witness was told that's family business and we should leave it alone. And that since he's dead, there's no reason to speak on him. Fix it, Jesus. He's gone on and no one should be bringing his name into nothing. Subject also says, whether it is true or a lie, God is saving human beings. What? The church is a hospital, and it is for all of us to get help. Everyone has sin in their background. He who is without sin, the first stone. But for someone to target a person and try to kill them publicly is wrong, because everybody has a past. Subject went on to say there are certain things that are private to families, and for people to run around and say it and not have all the information and facts totally correct. Okay, when people don't have facts totally correct, then people begin assuming and adding and all these types of stuff. What? Y'all hear that? Yeah. Allegation number 2. Subject failed to report allegations of adult sexual abuse involving incest perpetuated by one of the deacons in her church, Leon Randall, against his biological daughter, allegedly resulting in 2 pregnancies. This allegation is substantiated. This is Kaikira's father. Okay. Violation, failure to report adult sexual abuse involving sexual abuse by father against his biological daughter. Evidentiary support. Evidentiary support number 1, including corroborating statement by primary victim and 2 primary witnesses. The 2 primary witnesses were able to provide supporting testimony as to the primary victim's statement, as they each made personal attempts to get subject to hold her daughter accountable to no avail. Evidentiary support includes audio recording from August 24, 2019, in which a primary witness met with subject and subject's bishop to address the primary witness concerns, grievances regarding the alleged incestual abuse between Deacon and his biological daughter. So they did this all together. Okay. During the meeting, the primary witness received the following reply. Leon raped who? Leon raped who? He raped his daughter. Leon raped who? He raped her. That's what she said. She talking about she didn't know any better having sex with her father. That's not rape. That's someone's private business. Y'all, I have my back turned and I'm looking to the right. Because I got to stop right there. Did the person say that's not rape? Huh? Did they just say that's not rape? That's somebody's private business? Go to jail and go to hell. I'm sorry. Jesus, you need to work on me because mm-mm. Where are you even learning that from? That's a private family matter. Fix it, Jesus. Fix it, because I don't. Yeah, hey, oh dear. Oh yeah, thank you, Odie, for reminding me. Leon Randall actually finally went to jail, not for what he did to his daughter, but what he did to the stepdaughter who was underage at the time. He's in jail now. But oh dear, didn't you say that there are people who still go to the jail to visit him from that church? Please hit the like button. Please. Please share this, y'all. Please. Fix it, Jesus. Help us, Mama. Oh, yeah. I swear I've been dealing with cults all week. Okay, we have 14 in the chat, 11 likes. Please hit the like button, please. Allegation number 3, subject failed to remove accused predators from church leadership positions, including positions directly involving minor children. This allegation is substantiated. Violation, failure to remove accused child sexual abuse from leadership of children in the church. Even if you didn't believe it, that's the first thing you should have done, was to remove that person from leadership, pending an investigation. You should have. But you know how people are doing their own things. Okay. Okay. Page 6. Okay. Okay. Can y'all see? Okay. This is a continuation from the previous page. All right. Evidentiary support. Evidentiary support number 1 includes corroborating statements by 4 primary witnesses. Evidentiary support number 2 includes screenshots from the Christ Apostolic Temple. Number 3, Light of Hannibal Youth Ministry Facebook page, CBC, created by Christ Youth Department, with subject's daughter, Robin Michelle Hardin, still administrates as of the publishing of this report under Facebook name Quinchelle Bernard. Okay. Evidence support number 3 includes corroborating statements by 4 primary witnesses. The now convicted child sex offender Leon Randall was appointed director of subject's church nursery while awaiting arraignment for charges of child sexual abuse. Another stepdaughter might have not named in this report, etc. Are y'all kidding me? Did y'all read this? Did y'all hear what? Y'all gonna make me. They gonna make me take out the green apple Smirnoff in the refrigerator. It's too much. The man is on trial, waiting arraignment charges on child sexual abuse, and you make him the head of the church nursery? Throw the whole church away. Throw the whole damn church away. Throw the whole church away. We ain't serving the same God. In the words of Mad Church Disease, we can't be serving the same God. Ain't no way. Mm-mm-mm. Ain't no way. Ain't no damn way. You are under arraignment for child sexual abuse, and you appoint the man to the church's nursery? might think something wrong with that. Allegation number 4, subject used pastoral authority and privilege to publicly embarrass, shame, and intimidate one of the primary victims. This allegation is substantiated a violation, abuse of pastoral authority. Yes, it sure is. Evidentiary support number 1 includes corroborating statement by 4 primary witnesses. Okay, now we got us a timeline. Let's get through the timeline. Make sure y'all are able to see it. All right, timeline of events. September 2011, subject learns of adult sexual abuse involving incest. Initial report made to subject of child sexual abuse perpetrated by subject's daughter, the subject church's youth pastor. 2019, subject and subject's business add this continuing with earlier statement confronted by a primary witness regarding sexual abuse. June 2019, child predator and church deacon accused of child sexual abuse involving incest against his biological daughter is charged with statutory sodomy or attempted statutory sodomy, deviate sexual intercourse, person less than 12 years old. I think that's the stepdaughter, right? Okay, investigative narrative. Victim number 1 is also primary witness number 1 to the suppression and failure by the subject and the subject's bishop to report child sexual abuse of victim number 2. In April 2010, victim moved to Hannibal, Missouri after a life of sexual abuse in the foster care system. The following details were reported to Safehouse Unmuzzled concerning the victim's background and subsequent experiences at subject's church. Okay, this is Kaikera. And she did this on one of the videos. At the age of 7, victim was molested by the parties unrelated to this investigation. 7, at 13, and for several years thereafter, the victim was raped by parties unrelated to this investigation while in the foster care system. She was impregnated by her rapist at age 18 and again at age 19. According to the victim, the foster parents were complicit in the abuse and in protecting the rapist. In 2009, the victim located her biological father, herein referred to as abuser number 1, and thought that he would be an escape from the abusive foster family she had grown up in. She moved to Hannibal, Missouri in April 2019 to live with her father. The victim believed her father to be a born-again Christian due to his leadership position as a faithful deacon in the church. Shortly thereafter, abuser number 1 began sexually assaulting her. Though at the time the victim was 19 years old, her prolonged exposure to sexual abuse, rape, and molestation, along with additional adverse childhood experiences, seems to have significantly altered the victim's ability to make good moral judgments in the context of appropriate sexual boundaries. All right. Reframing sexual abuse as a consensual one is one of the ways a victim makes sense of and compartmentalizes the act in order to move forward in life. More is explained in this article. Okay, we can read the article at another time. That's the little hyperlink. It's blue. That's a link to the article. Victim was impregnated by abuser number 1, biological father, in 2010. She had a miscarriage at 6 months. Abuser number 1's wife left him that year, which allowed him to increase his sexual abuse of the victim, his biological daughter. So did she know? Okay, victim was impregnated by her biological father again in 2011. Shortly thereafter, he moved her to St. Louis, Missouri. Victim carried this child to term, and the child died shortly after birth. At 21 years old, victim heard a sermon by subject in which subject said, "No child should let themselves be touched by an adult, and if anyone does, you should tell." Following this church service, victim approached subject to report what was going on between she and her biological father. Wait, it says the subject, so that means a senior pastor, right? Oh dear, that's a senior pastor, right? Victim reported the subject asked the church if there was anyone who would let victim move in with them. A family in the church allowed victim to move in with them. Sometimes after victim's biological father remarried. Oh, Victim began noticing concerned behaviors from her abuser's new stepdaughter, who was 11 or 12 years old at the time. Victim later caught abuser number 1 following his stepdaughter's chest. Victim reports that she immediately went to report what she witnessed to the subject, who told her, "I don't think that's what he was doing." Thereafter, victim approached his stepsister to ask if abuser one had been touching her. The child confirmed that he had and that he had attempted to penetrate her, but was unsuccessful. Victim immediately reported this to subject. Victim reports the subject response to her was, "Calm down. There's nothing we can do, and she has to go home tonight." Victim reported the abuse to her friend in the church, who went to approach subject. Subject threatened to put victim out of church if she didn't shut her mouth. Abuser number 1 was later arrested in 2019 for sexually assaulting his minor stepdaughter. In 2011, victim returned to Hannibal, Missouri, and victim number 2 reported to victim number 1 the sexual assault he experienced by subject's daughter, the church's youth pastor. What do you mean? There's nothing we can do. She has to go home tonight. And did his first wife know that Kakira was being abused? What is that hell at? I'm sorry. I'm going to call it that. When you divorced him, you should have took Kakira with you. She has to go home. You said that? We a little bit more than halfway through, y'all. We're gonna keep going. I'm mad and I'm upset and I'm just, oh Jesus. Put my glasses back on. Victim number 2, child sexual abuse. Victim provided testimony on record dating back over 10 years of his sexual abuse by subject's daughter, herein referred to as abuser number 2, who was and still is a youth pastor director at Subject's Church. The following details were reported to UnMuz concerning the victim's sexual abuse. Victim reports the subject assigned abuser number 2 to watch over him and keep him in church, as abuser number 2 was a youth pastor at Subject's Church. Victim began assisting abuser number 2 with her children in her home. The victim and abuser number 2 began to horseplay, and victim reports that subject's daughter began to twerk on him, and the abuse escalated from there. Victim was living with subject during his time. He left abuser number 2's home to return to subject's house to take a shower. After showering, he returned to the house of abuser number 2 to engage in sexual activity. Hey, lady, 747. Victim reports the abuser number 2 began to kiss him, and that led to him performing oral sex on abuser number 2. Victim says that they began having sex, and abuser number 2 husband returned home, bringing the sexual abuse for that night to an end. Victim is the biological brother of abuser's number 2 husband. I might have to break out the green out to run off, y'all. This Gatorade Zero ain't gonna be enough. Remember when I said interfamily? Whew. Throw the whole church away, throw the whole family away too. Victim is the biological brother of abuser number 2's husband. The brothers were not raised together as abuser number 2. Husband is older and had previously been incarcerated. Victim reports that from that time forward, he was sexually abused by abuser number 2 and believes that he is the biological father of abuser's number 2's 10-year-old daughter. Victim reports that sexual abuse began when he was 15 years old and 1 month before his 16th birthday. Victim number 2 reports that abuser number 2 was approximately 32 years old when the abuse began. Victim number 2 reports that sexual abuse went on for several years. Victim number 2 reported he never personally reported abuse to subject, reported the abuse to subject, which I guess the senior pastor, but that after he was, okay, we got to go to the next page. After he was approached by victim number 1 to ask if abuser number 2 had ever sexually advanced on him, he confirmed it to victim number 1, who then reported the abuse to the subject. After victim number 1 reported victim number 2 abuse to subject, victim number 2 left subject's church never to return. I'm trying to make it bigger so we can see. Okay. All right. Victim number 2 wishes to file criminal charges against abuser number 2 and asks that Safehouse Unmuzzled executive director accompany him to file the police report and to act as his advocate. Victim number 2 wants to petition the courts for paternity test of abuser number 2's 10-year-old daughter. Fix it, Jesus. Help us to fix it, Jesus. Is that what you want us to do? Me too. This has to be a lot. You don't understand the emotion. I'm emotional reading this. I can't even imagine a witness going to the court, going to the police department, and filing this. And I'm glad Bishop Sinegal was able to go with him. All right. Primary witness number 2: sexual abuse involving incest. Primary witness: child sexual abuse. Primary witness provided formal statement on record as well as detailed record testimony via the Safehouse clubhouse room of having confronted subject. Okay. Sorry, it was a notification. Having confronted the subject about the sexual abuse involving incest of victim number 1 and the child sexual abuse involving victim number 2, as well as an additional victim who is now deceased by alleged suicide after the sexual abuse. Primary witness number 2 provided evidence that subject and subject's bishop, Dwight Reed, did deliberately and actively suppress the allegations of sexual abuse of both victim number 1 and victim number 2 and used pastoral power to silence, intimidate, and ostracize victim number 1. Primary witness number 3, sexual abuse involving incest. Primary witness, child sexual abuse. Primary witness. Primary witness number 3 provided formal statement on record as well as detailed recorded testimony via the Safehouse Unmuzzled clubhouse room of having confronted subject about the sexual abuse involving incest of victim number 1 and the child abuse involving victim number 2, as well as an additional victim who is now deceased. Primary witness number 4, child sexual abuse. Primary witness. Primary witness number 4 provided formal, detailed statement on record of having personally witnessed abuser number 2 sexualizing her relationship. Wait, I need to read that again to myself. Primary witness number 4 provided formal details on record of having personally witnessed abuser number 2 sexualizing her relationship with victim number 2, as well as to the victim. One of the other victims has no desire to be involved in the investigation and the third victim committed suicide after sexual abuse. Primary witness number 4 was a child and lived with abuser number 2 over the course of the sexual abuse. Witness abuser number 2 dancing sexually on victim number 2. Witness victim number 2 frequently trafficking in and out of abuser number 2's home and bedroom at late hours of the night. Witness abuser number 2 incite competition between victim number 2 as well as the other 2 victims in order to compete for abuser's number 2 attention. Witness and personally experienced spiritual abuse from abuser number 2 as a young member of abuser number 2's youth group at subject's church. Stated that each time abuser number 2's husband was released from jail, abuser number 2 would deliberately craft a narrative that each of the victims were crazy, needing to be on medicine, etc., to prevent her husband from discovering the sexualized relationships. What do you mean each time he was released from jail? How many times her husband was released from jail? Wait a minute. Okay. Witness subject used a pulpit to intimidate victim witnesses that were beginning to talk about the sexual abuse being perpetrated by the subject's daughter. Primary witness number 5, child sexual abuse. Primary witness, sexual abuse involving incest. Primary witness number 5 provided formal detailed statement on record of having witnessed inappropriate romanticized relationship between victim number 2 and abuser number 2. Primary witness number 5 said that they are a victim of gross clergy abuse. They said that they provided testimony to subject of physical, emotional, mental abuse they're experiencing from a leader in subject's church. Primary witness number 5 said they were told by subject it was their fault and that they should repent. Witness number 5 states that subject told them they had no grounds to leave the marriage. Witness states that they reported to subject concerns of child sexual abuse by subject's daughter. Witness said that they reported to subject concerns of sexual abuse involving incest by abuser number 1 and was told that they were crazy and out of their mind. Fix it, Jesus. Or help us to fix it. How can we fix it, Lord? All right, page 9. Subject's response. Due to the nature of the allegation, the subject's bishop's history of active intimidation and threats and the supporting evidentiary support, Safehouse Unmuzzled did not make any attempt to initiate contact with subject. Probably was for the best. Safehouse Unmuzzled recommends the following for relevant religious communities and law enforcement agencies. Subject should be charged under Section 210.135 RSMO as a mandated reporter who failed to report the sexual abuse of a minor child. Subject should be immediately removed from pastoral leadership for deliberately covering up child sexual abuse perpetuated by subject's daughter, thus making subject an accomplice in the abuse. 1 Samuel 2:27 through 4:22. Abuser number 1 should be charged with incest under 568.020. Abuser number 2 should be charged with second-degree statutory rape and second-degree sodomy under MO Rev Stat 566.034, 566.064 from 2018. Abuser number 2 should be removed as youth pastor and never permitted to serve in ministry involving children again. That should be an immediate. She need to go lay down by herself. Abuser number 2 should be religious community leaders in subject's community are requested to endorse Safehouse Unmuzzled's report, findings, and recommendations. Any social organization, sponsor, or partners of subject's church, outreach, or youth ministry should inactivate partnerships and sponsor pending criminal proceedings. For all relevant communities and institutions, to implement the following for all pastors, youth leaders, ministry staff, and volunteers. a code of conduct, sexual harassment policy, and community bill of rights, an abuse reporting system investigative process, a current list of social services made available to members within your community, funding for persons who experience abuse within your system and or organization, mandatory and training on ministerial ethics, adult clergy abuse, child sexual abuse, and mandatory reporting. Mandatory training on trauma-informed care for churches and all persons serving in leadership roles within the church. FYI, these are some a lot of these things on here. The Catholic Church has done in the last, I want to say 10, 15 years in the wake of the sexual abuse by the priests and nuns. Yeah. If you or someone you know has been a victim of predatory clergy, sexual misconduct, or gross clergy abuse, suppression of reports of sexual abuse, etc., by subject or another religious community leader, please contact Safehouse Unmuzzled via help@safehouseunmuzzled.com. Betty MacArthur, uh, are you from Missouri or are you just in a similar circumstance? Wait, Betty is who? All right, y'all. This is the end. Oh, okay. Hey, Betty, thank you so much for being here. Definitely praying for you and your daughter. I'm so sorry that happened to her. Did you see the Did you see the press conference earlier today? Were you or did you attend? Okay, that's great. Um, were you able to file a report too with the police? How else can we help you? No one has asked me to yet. Have you reached out to Bishop Sinegal or the Safehouse Unmuzzled group or advocacy group? I want my children to be heard and something to be done. Okay. Do you want me? Do you want to come on? You and your, I don't know if you want your daughter to come on here or not. Do you and your daughter want to come on here and tell your story, or do you want me to give you the information to contact Safe House Unmuzzled, or do you want to do both or something else? Okay. Sorry, I keep getting these alerts. I'm live, y'all. Okay. Okay, they are working with my children right now. Okay, that's good. Do you want me to drop the link? Do you want to come on now? Okay, let me put this in the chat for Miss Betty MacArthur. Mm. You're too angry right now. I definitely understand that. All right. Here is their Facebook, their Instagram, their Twitter, and they actually have two email addresses. The unmuzzled at yahoo.com and help at safehouseunmuzzled.com. But if you don't want to get your, you want to make sure that they get your, use the one at it's help at safehouseunmuzzled.com. You're welcome. And whenever you feel like coming back here to talk, or we'll definitely here's my email address. You can email me, or you can get in contact with me through B2B. Yes, B2B is definitely here to support as well. You're very welcome. You're welcome, Uwakata. Y'all, this was heavy. Very heavy. Uh, I might need to put a trigger warning on this video. I don't know. I mean, they already, people already know. If you, like I have said before, if you have not, I'm going to put it in again. Here's the petition. If you have not signed it, please do. If you already have, please share. Okay. Here is the link to the report. All right. Hold on. Why is that report not getting? Why is the link not showing up? Oh. Okay. There's a report. You can read it for yourself that we read in here today. And here is, if you are a victim or need any help from Safehouse Unmuzzled, here is their email address. This is their new email address specifically for victims, or if you're like a witness or a victim and you're being intimidated. Okay. All righty. Well, thank y'all so much for being here with me the last little bit over an hour and a half. Is there any more details coming out of this case? I will definitely let you all know. Please read the link. There's a link to the Unmuzzled report. Please sign a petition. Please share it. Share it. There is a Safe Unmuzzled website. Thank you so much, Black Anonymous. I appreciate that. Thank you, Vita V, Betty MacArthur, Uakata, Betty Yellick, D. Jones, Demita 1968. Let me see who else. A Lady 747. Oh dear. Black Anonymous. Who else? Bye. I think Monica was here earlier. Hood Therapy, Sexy Star, Kelly G. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to those who will be watching this on the replay. Please read the report. Please sign the petition. Please share it. Please, please, please. And if you need assistance from Safehouse Unmuzzled, here is the email address. Also, you can follow Safehouse Unmuzzled on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All right. So, thank y'all for being here. I think I might be going to lay down. For real. I will talk to y'all later. Y'all have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.